we keep inventing hope.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. I'm John, and today we're here to talk about the 2022 Noah Baumbach written and directed film, White Noise. But before we dive into that, if you are a fan of movie reviews, 4K Blu-ray reviews, some tech and game reviews, nothing helps the channel out more than by you liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So this is Noah Baumbach's latest film, written and directed by him, based on the 1985 novel by Don DeLillo. And it stars Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig as a married couple living in the 1980s, raising a blended family and dealing with some pretty deep themes. So Noah Baumbach has become actually one of my favorite directors, mainly because I really enjoyed his last film. And this film also stars Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story, and this also was distributed by Netflix, but happened to get the rare Netflix Criterion release because that movie did receive a lot of award nominations the year it came out. And this film also stars Noah Baumbach's real-life wife and partner in Greta Gerwig. And if that name sounds familiar, that's because she's also the upcoming director of Barbie, starring Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. But she's also directed two other movies that I really loved in Lady Bird and 2019's adaptation of Little Woman. And she's also acted before. Most famously, she also worked with her husband Noah Baumbach in 2012's Frances Haas. So Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig can pretty much do it all. They know how to make movies. Noah Baumbach is also a co-writer on Barbie. So these two are just a match made in heaven. They love each other. They know how to make films. They know how to act. They know how to do it all. And these two teaming up again with one of Hollywood's greatest actors right now, in Adam Driver. This should be a match made in heaven. My hopes were really high for this movie, and I couldn't wait to see it. Now, the thing that kind of tapered my expectations for this movie is the novel itself. It's always been claimed that the novel cannot be adapted for film. Now, I've never actually read the novel, so I don't know how true that is, but from what I understand, that it's a very hard novel to adapt, and Noah Baumbach really had his hands full with bringing this to the big screen, or in this case, watching it on Netflix on the small screen. And this actually happened to be his biggest budget he's ever received for a film at $80 million, because Noah Baumbach usually makes much smaller indie movies. He got to start in the 90s with Kicking and Screaming, and then he got a little bit bigger in the 2000s. He made a movie that I really love that also stars Jesse Eisenberg and Jeff Daniels in The Squid and the Whale. I really enjoyed that movie a lot. So he's always kind of been on my radar, but he makes much smaller movies, so this for him was a big project, and I really wanted to see what he did. This movie is also funded partially by A24, and I usually love all their work, and I couldn't wait to just get my hands on this one and watch it. So I sat down when it finally hit Netflix last night on December 30th, and I gave it a watch, and it was alright. I thought it was going to be a little bit better than it was. I feel like the themes that this film is trying to explore are just a lot for the plot itself to handle. Adam Driver plays Jack. He's the head of Hitler Studies, a department that he founded at the College on the Hill. And his wife is played by Greta Gerwig. They have 4 kids. They're a blended family. This is Jack's 4th marriage. And this is Adam Driver's wife, Babette, played by Greta Gerwig's 3rd or 4th marriage, I'm pretty sure, too. And they have 1 child together. The other 3 are from their other marriages. And it's about raising these kids in 1980s America. And the town they live in happens to unfortunately get a toxic spill event. So they call this a toxic air event. So the air is contaminated. The panic and the confusion that hits this town and hits this family. Now, even before this event happens, Greta Gerwig's character seems to be suffering from some sort of memory loss. And it's scaring her daughter, Denise. It's scaring her husband, Adam Driver, even though he is kind of putting on this strong face for the family. And then once this event hits, it really does drive this plot in motion. This movie is dealing with a lot of deep themes such as death and the inevitability of death and how we're all just driving towards death and what is the meaning of life, what is the point to society and everything that comes with it. And it's also dealing with like confusion and memory loss. And that was a really cool aspect of actually shooting this film, is how the film itself is purposely trying to shoot it and edit it in a way to make the viewer themselves confused and be forgetful of what is going on. And I thought that was awesome. I love the way that those scenes were edited together. It mainly takes place in the second act when this family is kind of on the run from something. Because I don't want to spoil too much about this movie because I went in completely blind. Like I said, I never read the novel, so I was really trying to tackle this film and try and unravel the mystery of what's going on and what the film itself is trying to tell me. And I actually really did enjoy the themes of this film. There was certain monologues from Greta Gerwig and Adam Driver's character, and there's an awesome scene in here with Don Shield and Adam Driver in a college room just giving lectures together that I thought was amazing. Just phenomenal acting. That was just the scene, just to show off the fact that Adam Driver and Don Shield can act. But the actual screenplay itself, it does have some plot holes and it does have some issues in the fact the way that the characters are written that kind of really do bother me, mainly in the child actors. I've complained about this on M. Night Shyamalan movies before, where all the child actors, the way they speak just doesn't feel like a child would speak. They feel way too knowledgeable for their age. Now, given their father is a college professor and a really good one at that, and their mother herself is also very intelligent, she herself looks at the world in a very philosophical way and feels like every question has an answer. Everything that happens has a logical reasoning for it. And that's another thing about this, is losing control. That's another thing about this film that they're really trying to explore, is like, what happens when all the choices you made are taken away from you and you don't actually know what to do next. And that fear of the unknown, that's another big theme of this film that I really did enjoy. And I feel like those themes are really what attracted Noah Baumbach in trying to bring this film to the screen. It just doesn't work 100%. I did think the score was really good, because in the first and third act, it kind of has this like whimsical, honestly like 80s, 90s feel to it, where they're trying to show you like, oh, it's a happy family, with the high drama of the second and third act. I think it did work, but it just didn't blend it perfectly. And the cinematography itself feels like that Netflix cinematography that I'm not a huge fan of, where everything feels very overexposed, and it could feel a little bit like the actors are cosplaying in 80s clothes. And honestly, the person that stuck out the most was actually Greta Gerwig's character. Mainly it's because maybe it's just my eyes and I know that's Greta Gerwig, but it just looks like she's playing dress up in some scenes. But she does such a good job acting, I overlook it pretty fast. But I'll admit that there are points where it would kind of like take me out, and I feel like they could have done a better job shooting this film. Now, that's just my personal opinion on it, and it's just minor complaints. My biggest just complaints are with the story itself. Like, this is a story that I felt like should have grasped me. It's definitely something that I personally enjoy. I love movies like this that's unraveling a mystery, and like a sci-fi mystery at that kind of wrapped in there. And I think that if they would have just stuck to that plan kind of through the second act. Now, again, I haven't read the novel, so I don't know how the novel unravels. I'm just looking at it from a film standpoint. And it just felt like it didn't 100% work for me. I felt like there were moments where it should have felt bigger and they didn't. And then smaller moments should have felt really more emotional, and those scenes just didn't. So overall, this felt more like a good movie, but not a great movie. This isn't a movie I think that's going to receive Academy Award nominations. I honestly think that this is a movie that is going to be forgotten about in a year. And that's unfortunate, because it is a well-made movie. It's a well-directed movie. It's a very well-acted movie. It just feels like it's missing certain parts to it. And that could be the adaptation factor of bringing it from novel to film, and I think Noah Baumbach himself should be commended for that, but it just doesn't 100% work for me. So if I was going to give this a score out of 10, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I could recommend you watch it. It's on Netflix right now, and I definitely think it's worth it, especially if you got the 3-day weekend for New Year's and you're looking for something to watch and you just want to finish up all your 2022 lists, and you think, I might like that movie, because you might like this movie more than I did. I could definitely recommend giving it a watch. It's not overly long. It doesn't hit that Babylon 3 hours mark. It's about 2 hours and 16 minutes. I think you're really going to have a good time with that. I just don't think it's going to stick with you like Noah Baumbach thought it would, especially with such topics that still ring true in 2022. And that's a little bit unfortunate, but I can still recommend the film. And if you do check it out, let us know in the comment section below what you thought of 2022's White Noise. And while you're down there, nothing helps the channel out more than by you liking this video and subscribing to the channel.